Hey everybody, Ethan here from WordTech, back with another video for you guys, and yes, I am wearing a Sriracha t-shirt. No, not a sponsor. So today I'm going to be bringing you the review, or my review, of the Audeze iSINE 20s, which are a pair of the first series of planar magnetic in-ear monitors, you could kind of call them, but in-ear headphones ever in the world. They were developed by Audeze. They came out, I believe it was sometime in 2017, although don't quote me on that. I can't remember the exact release date. But anyway, they're a pretty high-end pair of in-ear headphones. So far, I've been very impressed with them. So let's start with what you get in the box. Obviously, the first thing that you'll see when you get is you get the pair of iSINE 20s along with the flat cable that comes with them. You can also get them with a cable that has some integrated microphones and stuff. I didn't, because there's no need for that in my mind, especially in an audiophile product. I don't think it's that popular or that high demand of a thing. You get your case that comes with it, which is a soft bag, but you actually do get a hard little bit inside there that you can wrap the headphones around that you're kind of supposed to put them in, that slides into this bag. So that's something important to keep in mind. Is I saw some reviews of this that said it doesn't include a hard case. It does, you just have to wrap them on this. But I think if you're spending anywhere near this amount of money on headphones, on in-ear monitors, or in-ear headphones, whatever you'd like to call them, you really should be wrapping them up and being very, very careful with them. And you shouldn't really care too much if it's a little bit of a complicated process to put them away. It only takes a minute, and in my mind, keeping them safe is the #1 priority, and I think this actually does a great job of that versus some other hard-based cases out there that you're more likely to have them tumble around and get tangled up. Now, you also get a certificate of authenticity. It's a piece of plastic, cool. And then you get 2 different sizes of ear clips, which go on the back side of your ear. You get 2 different sizes of ear flanges, which are the little rubber bits that go inside your ear, not the actual ear tips themselves, but the flanges go and they put support inside your ear. I prefer the clips, but both of them work. And then you also get 6 different sizes, or well, 6 different types, I should say, of the actual in-ear tips. Now, you get 3 sizes that are a ribbed material, and then you get 3 sizes that are not a ribbed material, depending on your preference. Now, they're still round, they're not any special shape or anything like that, and they do fit pretty comfortably. The ones that come stock, I think, will actually fit most people, but you may want to swap them out, so those are included, which is great. You also get an ear tip cleaner, which is just a little hook thing on the end and a brush. Kind of gross, but it's good that they include that, right? You get 1 Velcro cable tie. I don't really see much of a use for that myself. And you also get a clip, like a little shirt cable clip, so that you can clip it onto something if you like. I never use that either, but it's nice that they include quite a few little accessories. And then the very last thing is they include a USB flash drive with the manual and other stuff like that on it. I don't think you're gonna need to use it, but I do appreciate that they include it on a flash drive instead of a piece of paper. So now jumping into the design portion. So personally, I think they're actually very, very good looking headphones, and they do kind of make people question what they are. I've been in public quite a bit around people that I know generally, so they're not afraid to ask, but people that are like, whoa, what are those? I've never seen headphones like that before. In-ear headphones especially, you know, they look kind of weird. They're a very unique style, and they're also a unique color. I personally like the color. Love it or hate it, that's your choice, right? But I think the color looks excellent. This kind of bronze brass color is just beautiful. And overall, the cable is nice. I do appreciate the flat cable. It is decently well in terms of anti-tangle. Obviously, you can only go so far with that. The cable is actually removable, which is really nice. I expect on anything that's a fairly high-end headphone, but it's definitely nice to have that on in-ear monitors or in-ear headphones of any sort. I know there's not a lot of companies that actually do that. Shure is one of them, Audeze is one of them, but it's something that I really appreciate, because I personally think you're at much greater risk of breaking your wire on in-ears than you are on over-ears, because over-ears more commonly are going to be used at like home and stuff like that, whereas your in-ear headphones, they're going to be used out on the go. You're going to be throwing them in a bag and stuff, so I think it's likely that the cable breaks. So it's really important in my mind to have a cable that gets removed. Now, in terms of how these actually go in your ear and kind of how they fit, they have the little tips that actually are funneled down, because obviously the planar magnetic drivers aren't the size of an earbud. They're pretty large, as you can clearly tell, and so they kind of rest outside your ear, but there's a little funnel that pushes them into your ear, and then you have the little ear tip that goes inside your ear. I think they're pretty comfortable. Actually, I most commonly don't even use the clips on them. I don't personally think that they're necessary unless you're going to be moving around. So when I'm just sitting at my computer or sitting in bed or something like that, laying in bed, I actually don't even use the ear tips, because I think it's more, or the ear clips, I think it's most comfortable just with the ear tips on. That's my personal preference, but you get a lot of options in terms of fitment with these, and I do think the flanges do a pretty decent job, although if you're planning to use these while working out, I would not recommend that though. But if you are planning to use them while working out or something, you're gonna want to use a really well fit ear tip and the entire ear clip, the size that fits you best. Now, the reason I say you probably shouldn't use them while working out is they're not really designed to be sweat resistant or anything like that. And, you know, in terms of sound quality, obviously more on that later, but they're not as enhanced in the bass end, which a lot of people prefer when they're working out, as something that has a little bit of a kick to it, right? And not that these don't at all, but they're just not enhanced in that way at all. So they don't really motivate you quite as much to work, at least in, to work out harder, at least in my personal opinion. But also no sweat resistance, and they're so expensive, I would be worried about breaking them. Overall though, I say I can appreciate the design a lot. It is really nice, and I actually do like the case, which, by the way, in case you were wondering, closes magnetically, and there is a little pocket in the back for your ear tips or ear flanges. It's not really big enough to hold all of them and still fit this in here properly, fit the little plastic shield in there properly, but it's enough to fit 1 or 2 pairs so that you can have the ones that you may want to use on you at all times, and then just leave the rest in the box or something like that. Speaking of the packaging, very nice packaging, Audeze. I do appreciate it. Shuts magnetically, nice plastic case, really soft. I expect good packaging on a pair of headphones like this, but it's just nice to see. I figured I'd mention it. So getting into the build quality, you know, these are really well built, but I think they could, honestly, for the price tag, be a little better in terms of the actual physical quality of the headphone. I already talked about the case. I actually do think it's a great design. I think it's a very good way to protect the headphones. It's maybe a little bit of a pain in the butt to put them away, but I'm totally cool with that. But in terms of the headphones themselves, they are made out of plastic, not metal. Now, it's very thick, pretty strong plastic, so by no means I'm not saying these aren't durable or aren't good build quality headphones. It is still excellent build quality, but more so for the price range, I would have liked to maybe see something that was metal based, but I don't know how possible that is with planar magnetic drivers. I don't fully understand. I kind of know how they work. I've actually done videos about that. I'll try and link it up in the description up there, or up in the little eye, and also down in the description. But in terms of planar magnetics, I don't know if that would interfere at all or not, but yeah, they are plastic. It's not cheap, you know, crappy plastic. It is quite strong plastic. I have thrown these down on a table several times and stuff like that. Never felt like they were gonna break. So it's by no means bad, but I do think it could use a little bit of improvement. The other area that I feel like could maybe use some improvement is the actual cable connection point. Tends to wear out. Now, I haven't actually unplugged and plugged mine in over and over, so I can't speak for that myself, but I know people on forums, as well as other people that have owned these headphones, have had a little bit of issues with the cable staying in if they have to, if they take it in and out a lot. Not sure why you would. I don't think it's a huge deal. The idea really more so is if you break the cable, you replace it once. So it doesn't need to be the most robust mechanism, but it still would be nice to see that it was, in case you were taking it in and out for whatever reason or something like that. Now, in terms of the cable quality, it's actually pretty great. It could maybe use a little bit of improvement on the actual robustness of the joint that goes into the headphone slot. And the split joint actually is pretty solid. It's just that little bit that I feel like maybe could use a little bit more length in terms of the flexible area that's supposed to kind of prevent the cable from, you know, bending itself. But the cable is replaceable, so that's not a huge deal either. And I haven't had to try this myself because they have been pretty reliable and pretty durable for sure. But I assume Audeze would replace that for free if these weren't very old and you did damage it. So not a huge deal. They would replace the cable, right? Removable cable makes a huge difference to me. And so in terms of build quality, I mean, they get a pretty high score from me, because if the cable wasn't removable, I'd be a lot more worried. But since it is removable, that helps a lot in terms of the durability of these headphones. So now moving into the obviously most important aspect of this review, which is the performance, or the audio, the sound. How do they sound, right? And everybody's always wondering, you know, why do people prefer planar magnetics? And I sure do myself, although I have a pretty wide collection of headphones that I'm building up, and I want to try some of the higher end dynamics and stuff to see how they compare. But in my experience, planar magnetics, there's pretty much nothing that can match them. I haven't heard electrostatic yet, but you know, planar magnetics are a somewhat similar technology in terms of the way they actually produce the sound, and they kind of blow my mind. So to give you an idea of what I've tested these against, I've tested them both on my Shit Valhalla 2, which is a tube amp, and that was also connected to a wired USB decrapifier, as they call it, and a Modi 2 DAC. So pretty high-end gear there. I've also tested them on my Asus Zonar Essence STX sound card, which is also a pretty high-end one. But the most testing I've done is on my Galaxy S8 Plus. And you may be like, well, these are audiophile grade headphones. That doesn't sound like the right area for them, but I really do think it is, because these are portable headphones. You're going to be using them on the go, and most people, let's be honest, don't want to carry around a dedicated amp with them for headphones, right? Dedicated amp DAC combo or something of the sort, and there are only a few good ones out there anyway. A lot of those are crap and don't do much better of a job than the built-in smartphone one. So I've used them primarily with my smartphone directly, so that's important to keep in mind. And honestly, I think that's the biggest use case for these. So that's how I'm going to be judging this review. Now, in terms of what I'm comparing these to, I'm comparing them to my AKGs that came with my Galaxy S8 Plus. They're actually decently high-end headphones that come with it. Pretty surprised there. I'm also testing them. I'm kind of putting them up against the Klipsch X10Is, although I don't own those anymore. I owned them for a very long time and got rid of them semi-recent, and so I do know what those sound like, and those are a balanced armature driver. I'm comparing them to my Hi-Fi Man HE400Is, which are planar magnetic over ears, my Sennheiser HD600s, and my AKG K612 Pro over ears. So to give you an idea of what experience I have in terms of headphones, it's fairly broad in terms of what I directly compared these to, and honestly, I'm really impressed. So Audeze is actually known for a little bit of a heavier bass accent. I didn't notice too much of one on these, although I'm a little bit of a bass head, so maybe it's more than some other IEMs out there, although they sounded about similar to the Klipsch X10Is in terms of the actual bass response and in terms of the how heavy the bass felt. And it didn't feel really overdriving. It was pretty balanced overall. And I want to make it clear, I use Tidal, so I was listening to these with FLAC files primarily to give you an idea of what the listening experience was like. So this, but I also did test with AAC, MP3, and Vorbis codecs. So I tried with a lot of different codecs, and they sounded really good all the time. I'm actually really impressed with how smooth the bass response is. There's no muddiness or anything like that. It's pretty excellent overall. Again, maybe I'd like a little bit more bass, but that depends, in terms of how balanced you really want your headphones to be, and depends what kind of music you're listening to. I primarily listen to EDM, so a little bit of extra bass can be nice, but it depends on the track in specific. Now, again though, it's very, very smooth and very impressive. I really do enjoy the bass response on these. In terms of the mid-range, I feel like they're overall pretty excellent. They're very, very precise. The mid-range isn't subdued very much either. Again, it sticks with a pretty flat sound curve overall, and so the mid-range never feels drowned out by the treble or by the bass. And in fact, sometimes it can overpower the treble a little bit. More on that in a moment, but it's really just super precise, and I can't really exactly explain that correctly, because until you've heard planar magnetics, it's hard to understand what that precision really means. But really, honestly, they sound incredible in terms of the mid-range. Very, very, very nice. Now, when we move into the treble, it actually is subdued a little bit in comparison to some more like reference monitor stuff, like my Hi-Fi Man HE400Is, or even my Sennheiser HD600s, which are known to be a little bit of a treble cannon. These are not, and that's actually my preference. I don't want too much treble because that hurts my ears, and I don't prefer that. It makes me cringe a little bit. So I really, really, really enjoy the treble noise level on these. And again, with that precision, it just blows my mind. Listening to especially EDM tracks where there's lots of wobbles and stuff in terms of dubstep, it blows my mind how you can hear I don't even know how to say it, but you can just hear every little detail in a given sound, in a given synth or something like that. You can hear it doesn't sound like a note. You can actually hear the vibration. I don't even know how to explain it. Like I said, it kind of baffles me how great they are in terms of the treble reproduction. So, even though the mid-range does overpower it a little bit sometimes, it's not enough to bother me, and that's actually more towards my preference. Now, if you really want something that is more of a treble cannon, these maybe aren't the direction to go, but they just, the precision is just absolutely incredible. And to be completely honest with you guys, comparing these to my other over-ear headphones on much higher end equipment, nothing seems to properly compare to these other than the HE400Is, because they're also planar magnetics, and those are much cheaper planar magnetics versus these. It really does blow my mind, the sound quality on a pair of headphones like this that is in this portable of a package, and also is this easy to drive for planar magnetics. I haven't had really trouble with anything having to turn it up all the way in order to get a decently high volume out of them. So it really does impress me, and if you're looking for the utmost amazing sound quality, especially in terms of music listening and somewhat of movie watching, although I primarily tested these with music listening, really look no further, in my opinion, unless you need something that's really durable and sweat-proof that you can like work out in, for example. But if you're getting these just for high-end sound quality because you want to be able to use them to, whether you're at work or sitting at your computer or laying in bed, before you go to sleep, these are an incredible option for that. And even for the price tag, I'm pretty blown away. It feels like it punches way above its mark, which honestly planar magnetics tend to do. My hi-fi mount HE400Is, they punch well above the Sennheiser HT600s, which MSRP is nearly twice that. They're very impressive, and so I am certainly a fan of planar magnetics, as you can clearly tell. But really, these are excellent headphones, and I think you would be very happy, and any owner is pretty lucky to have these. And so I do think that if you're considering these and you are actually in the market for a high-end earphone like this, look no further. Go with these. There's not much better you can get unless you go with like the LCD eyes, I believe, from Audeze, which is the really top end model of these planar magnetic in-ears. And I can't remember the price on those, but it's in the it's well over $1,000, where these are around the $550 mark. So I think these are going to be a lot better value. And if you're watching this review, actually considering buying them, don't go for anything else, in my personal opinion. Now, thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out all the links down in the description below, as well as leave a comment and let me know what you think of these. Let me know if you have them and how impressed you are, or what you think of planar magnetic drivers overall. And of course, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all have an excellent day, and I will be having another video for you guys this Friday.